emulator, which is totally okay. Emulators are totally a-okay in this category and this speed run. Oh, his audio is like delayed by like a little bit. Very strange. Oh, and he gets blocked by Blue Man. Because of that, I am going to switch audio to Reboot, because that will be probably disoriented for most people. So there we go. And then Reboot, of course, has to have the tinny audio, so that's interesting. I might switch to a playlist with the audio situation here. But so I'll explain the glitch now that we've kind of figured out audio. Basically, if you've never seen this before, what they're doing is they're using the PSP exclusive equipment glitch. The version differences between PSP and the other versions are very minor, unless we're talking about Origins Edition or we're talking about the NES version, where there's quite a few mechanical differences. But PSP has an exclusive glitch called the equipment glitch. Basically, what we can do in this game is we can press L and confirm or R and confirm. What that does is it lets us equip equipment onto the wrong slot. Now, weapons cannot be equipped into the armor slot and vice versa. That's because weapons and armor have their own memory in the memory. So when you try to equip a weapon or an armor into the opposite slot, you get the corresponding equipment in the memory. That equipment in the memory, excuse me, that equipment then gets created in your inventory out of nowhere. You can see that he's currently doing that with the Judgment Staff, turning the leather cap, which every character can equip, into a Judgment Staff, which now every character can equip, which boosts our damage pretty significantly. It's not the most powerful weapon in the game, but it suffices for this portion of the game. The equipment glitch, or the Judgment Staff, also lets us cast Flare, and Flare lets us deal absorbent amount of damage at very low levels. Like, we can deal upwards of 200 damage at this point in the game with that. Now, it's an 8-second animation on PSP, so you'll see that they're going to opt to cast, that they're just going to opt to attack Garland, because they can kill Garland in 3 to 4 attacks. Crrool with a sub 3 Garland, which is perfectly fine. That's generally what runners aim for in a race situation, is sub 3. Now, I am an audiophile, so I am going to bring up my own music because the tinny audio from Reboot is bugging me slightly, and Crrool's delayed audio would bug everyone, not just me. So I'm going to bring up audio playlist that I had days ago. Okay, once that sounds like Final Fantasy at first. There we go. This you probably recognize. So here we go. So this is actually the only version of the game where you can skip the initial like text scroll. This is, for some reason, they just let the PSP version skip through the like 4 Warriors of Light, blah 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 blah, look on, blah 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 blah. So, I know we have a 4-minute Garland by Reboot. So yes, I believe I was correct in thinking that Reboot, it sounds like a bad codec. So yeah, So both runners are having minor audio issues. So, if people really want me to, I can turn it back to in-game music, but for now I'll just play the OC remix. So Crrool and Reboot are now moving on to the next goal, which is to get a ship. The game basically tells you, go get a ship from the ship town Provoca, and when you get there, there's no ships. So in Provoca, we fight the pirates, Dane, which is normally a very difficult fight casually. There's 9 pirates. It's kind of nuts. But we have Flare, so they go down in 8 seconds. And Crrool looking at a about a 6-minute pirates, which is actually great. I split upon them fading away, and my average split is about 6 seconds, so that's great, actually, from Crrool. He's on a really good pace right now. We're going to see if he can keep this pace up, or if the game kind of trolls him a little bit. You might think, well, Reboot is only just past the cutscene. So nice. How did the smartphone Final Fantasies botch the graphics so bad? I'm not sure. This is the PSP version. I haven't played the FF1, but I believe it's the same version. FF1, 2, and 4 PSP are actually, in my opinion, the best looking of the classic remakes, and have some of the best sprite work in the entire series, including the SNES versions. Honestly, they did a fantastic job. The PSP versions of these games really look like Final Fantasy 1 Origins, but like cleaned up. And I think Origins did a really great job. So Reboot is just fighting the pirates now. Again, anything can happen. Crrool could run into constant ambushes. He could get paralocked. Anything could happen in this race. Yeah, I think that this is honestly one of the best looking games in the series. Like, just look at the great sprite work on, like, even the monsters look like they have great care taken into their battle sprites. The ogres, you can tell that they're bulging ogres. Goblins look like the goblin. They look like a modern version of the original sprite.
Yo, what's up?
And like everything in this game just looks exquisitely like a lot of care was put into the game. And I'm not even a hater of the new ones. Also, I should mention that Reboot has just killed the pirates. He's on his ship at 8 minutes. Crrool is walking into the marsh cave at, looks like he's going to get there at about 8:20. Yep, 8:20 for that. And the marsh cave actually has a really low encounter rate. So, as I say that, and yeah, I'd like to also make it clear I'm looking at the mobile version. The mobile version of this game actually is exactly the same. So, actually, I just realized I don't own it. Oh, it's $8. Never mind, can't buy that right now. Yeah, rip Student Raid. So Reboot is doing something in a different order than Crrool is. Reboot is buying the golden needles now instead of later, which is what the beginner's guide says. A lot of runners, though, prefer grabbing it when they grab the Mystic Key, and they do the thing, and they get that. So, Crrool is actually slightly ahead of his PB right now. Now, that could very easily change, but that is very promising to see. Crrool is looking at a really good time right now. The game hasn't trolled him as of yet, although, like I said, anything can happen. This is Final Fantasy 1. It's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet game. when it comes to trolling you. Reboot is on his way to the cave. Six looks okay on phones, in my opinion. In my opinion, again, it could be your opinion. It look FF6 and FF5 look fine on like phones, which is what they're designed for. But when you take the sprites and the backgrounds and you throw them on PC, they look pretty shoddy, and that's because they were made with smaller screens in mind, with denser pixels. And it looks fine in my opinion. I played FF6 on a tablet, on about a 7-inch tablet. Game looks great in my opinion. But it looks terrible on PC, and FF5 has some issues beyond just uninterested decisions on sprites. I actually really dislike FF5. It's got a lot of problems. I do play it for my version for Forge Up Fiestas, because there's some things that are just easier. But I think next year's Forge Up Fiesta, I'm probably going to play the SNES version to change it up for myself. So Crrool moving on to Astos, which is where he's going to get the eye. You need the crown to fight Astos, because he won't reveal himself if you don't bring him the crown. So otherwise he's just going to tell you, oh, I need the crown to save the prince. But he's lying. He's a scumbag. Crrool spoiling what's going to happen in the chat. Yeah, honestly, this version is fantastic. I would recommend it to anyone, like casually too. Like it's a great version of the game. But I would honestly, I'd also like to say go play the NES version. The classics are good too. You just got to remember that it's old. So Crrool with a great Astos time right now, looking at about 12 minutes. He's got the crystal eye in hand. Now he can go and grab the jolt tonic. So he can wake up the elven prince, so that he can get the mystic key, so that he can get some powder, some nitro powder, so that the dwarves can blow a hole in the sea shelf and allow you to walk straight in to the rest of the world. Although you are pretty limited without a canoe or without an airship, you need both to really explore the world. So the first goal is going to be to go kill Lich after this. Astos is really the last, and the Pisco Demons are really the last hard thing into Lich, and then after that, Chaos is the next hard thing, with few trolls in and out where Tiamat can, in theory, kill you with really bad damage rolls. But really, that doesn't happen often. So Crrool is going to be... Crrool is actually getting quite a few encounters here. So most runners are like, the first reset point for most runners is when they drop off the Mystic Key. They generally want to have the Mystic dropped off at about 16 minutes. Somewhere in there. Usually a low 16 is what they're looking for. And we'll see if they can get that. So one thing that I'll note is Crrool decided there to save frames rather than save encounter chance. Basically, every tile in the game has a different chance. Like, so the plains tiles have a lower chance than the forest tiles, which have a lower chance. Actually, that's pretty much it. Forest tiles have the highest encounter rate on the world map. The ocean tiles don't have a high encounter rate, but the encounters are terrible. Sahagins are hard to run from. Sahagin Big Eye encounters can paralock you, in theory, although you should Judgment Step before that. Sharks are hard to run from and hit kind of hard sometimes. They're terrible, hard to run from encounters until after the Mystic Key, which makes the first few trips really tough on you. And I just realized that Crrool is not comparing to his best, I believe, or compared to his PB. I think he's comparing to average. Just a 131 on his PB at the end there, so he probably isn't on PB. Which, I mean, that's probably good. When you're in a race, you should probably not be comparing against your PB. It's just to psych your brain out. So Reboot is on his way back from the Mystic Key. Or sorry, from Astos, and he's going to continue on. Trying to catch up. But he's not been having the best encounter luck so far. One thing that you can really tell based on runners is, and you'll see that he's actually opted to use Judgment Staff here rather than risk it because of how hard it is to run from Sahagins and Big Eyes, even when it's like a low amount, like 3 and 1. It's very, very possible that Reboot could still win. Crrool could run into some really bad RNG later. And it looks like Crrool, looks like the ocean has finally decided to take its mark from Crrool. He's up to Judgment Staff 2 encounters, and now he's officially below average. And yeah, 17-minute time isn't too good for Mr. T, but in a race or a marathon, this is perfectly fine. If this was him just trying to grind out times, maybe not the best. He'd probably have reset here. Maybe. Oh. Honestly, the really good runners of this game will just take it in stride, and they will play at their best and play their fastest. The biggest differences, again, are menus. You're going to see a big difference with how quickly Reboot and Crrool menu every time they need to menu, either to remove poison, revive someone, or equip something. So here we're coming to a very important menu. This is the Thieves Armlet menu. Mithril Hammer corresponds to Thieves Armlet in the table. So we equip a Thieves Armlet to every single slot. And Thieves Armlet gives +5 agility on accuracy, defense, and evasion, which means it's a better piece of equipment than the Knight's Armor to stack, if only for the +5 agility. Agility is what factors into our run-in chance. It also increases the number of hits that you can do, which with the next piece of equipment, the Barbarian Sword that we're going to get, is going to greatly increase our damage output. So you're going to see here he's going to sell those leftover Knight's Armor. Part of the best part about the Knight's Armor is that they cost 3,600 and they sell for 18 grand. They sell for 18 grand. Like, they are a hefty piece of equipment to sell back. And it makes the run a lot it makes the run like a lot better. So Crrool is now grabbing the final piece of the final key item before the part 1 fetch quest. This is basically the end of Act 1 for this game, is to grab the nitro powder and blow up the canal. This is basically the last part of the first part of the game, which in a normal playthrough, and in most other categories, would be about 40 minutes long. Like, we'd be here for about 40 to 50 minutes in the other versions, just because we need to grind out just to be able to kill Astos quickly, and because there's some decent grind spots in this part of the game. But instead, nope, we're just gonna keep going because we are not afraid of anything, because we can cast Flare. Also, if you are interested in speedrunning this game, there's some great tutorials on speedrun.com/ff1. It's a really easy speedrun to learn, and it's really fun. You can actually get like a pretty good time pretty quickly. And we're always looking for more runners in the community. We're pretty helpful. It's runnable on emulator as well, and there's no real differences between emulator and the digital version of this game. So I'd highly recommend that. It's also pretty fun. Like I said, I can't stress how fun this version is. The Reboot's trying to run away from Sit Sahadians. I'm not sure if this is pre or post the farmlet menu. It looks like it's post, so that's why he was able to run away with White Mage. Yeah, he's actually not that far behind if you think about it. Right now he is looking at only being one kind of ledge behind Crrool. He's still getting the nitro powder, which Crrool has already dropped off. So next step is going to be going to Melmond and glitching the best weapon in the game. Reboot doing a very odd thing where he's going the long way around the going the long way around the cave. So this is a weird menu in that, so the equipment glitch only works from one character slot away. So we need to actually glitch the barbarian sword onto the black mage, then re-equip the black mage, then equip the barbarian sword onto our warrior because he can equip it. Then we can re-equip another barbarian sword, because you can't equip the barbarian sword. You can't create a new barbarian sword if there's one in your inventory. It's just the way the glitch works. Is it creates a new piece because the memory says there should be one, rather than deleting a piece, basically, or rather than like just equipping a new one. It really is never GG in FF1. Crrool was set to memory slot 20 for some reason. How long is this speedrun? It's about 90 minutes to 100 minutes. It's never GG in Final Fantasy because it's always a time loop. Us speedrunners are just constantly caught in this time loop, and we have to constantly kill chaos. The game lies. We don't actually end the time loop. That's why we keep playing it. Yeah, thanks to the Barbarian Sword, this run is extremely quickly. I mean, not to mention the help we get from Judgment Staff. Like, having access to Flare and the best weapon in the game is pretty good. And I really want to get the console though for this. Like as much as I'm okay with running on emulator, I'm sick of having emulator bugs like slowing me down. Crrool with an okay vampire, sub 25 is okay. You could definitely have faster times, but that's not what he got there. Reboot, you can definitely tell, is not used to the menus of this game. You can tell just by, it's almost just unsure on how to like do the menus. But I mean, hey, that's what happens. Sometimes people are lower like skill level. I mean, this tournament is for everyone of every skill level, and you encourage people to join. Obviously, I can't really say like, oh, he got unlucky with that menu. It's I have to point out his menus are a little bit slower than Crrool's. Crrool is also one of the better players. One of the routers of this game as well. He was involved, as far as I know, in quite a bit of the routing to make this current 90-minute route. A route that has the potential to be like mid to low 120 with really good luck. We have a 125 as the world record right now, with another one maybe pending. Like having a little bit of trouble with the tarantulas. Gonna have to go into his earth cavern is like my earth caverns, long and terrible, and filled with ambushes. So Reboot is now going through Earth Cavern for the first time. Encounter list B1, which isn't uncommon. Filled with bats, yes. Bats are, sometimes bats will just troll you completely. Oh, sorry. A little tired today. I didn't sleep well. So right now Crrool is going to the most sleepy cutscene. Board wolves! Oh, trolling. Yeah, this is not exactly the best Earth segment of the run. And Reboot killing vampire. So we are now seeing it. Crrool finally walking in to get his thing. Also, scary encounter. On Reboot's side, but he does get a lucky first try there. with it, like getting a first turn staff, but he wasn't able to run away, or it was an ambush, one of the two. It was an ambush based on how long, but and based on where his menu. Wait, no, it might have. I'm not sure, but oh, preemptive! Yay for Crrool! Crrool got something going for him. I'm not sure why, but Reboot is attacking. Okay, I guess he wanted to judgment staff that encounter because he was worried about not being able to run away, but forgot to set his other characters correctly. So that's gonna lose him a little bit of time there. Now they're both back in Earth Cave. Well, sort of. They're both on P2 now. They're just kind of passing by each other, but on opposite legs. So the Earth Rod is already returned for Crrool, and Crrool is now heading towards Lich. This will be the final time through the Earth Cave. He actually had a really good B2 there. By the way, the reason why you see Crrool save, he's a very, very safe player. He likes to save often. He saves here because of encounters like that, which could paralock him, as well as he could get Histo Demons, which aren't that dangerous, but they do waste time. The biggest thing is that Cockatrices can ambush, and they can paralyze your entire team. Or not paralyze, but stone your entire team. Petrify in this game, which counts as death, and if your entire team is petrified or stoned, just like in every other Final Fantasy, they're dead, and you game over. It's very rare that that happens, but it's enough of a risk that we do it. Also, the next boss we're actually going to save in front of too. That's because Lich is the most dangerous encounter in this game. So, Reboot is moving the golem. Luckily, he didn't somehow forget the Star Ruby. Forgetting the Star Ruby is basically this game's equivalent of for Dad to talk to Rosa in Kaipo. If you know FF4 at all, it's a pretty common beginner mistake to forget talking to Kaipo, and it's a pretty big beginner mistake to forget the Star Ruby. You're going to see here that Crrool is going to save right in front of Lich because Lich could very easily Blizzara. And that would, that will kill you. Lich, well, yeah, I mean, everything is much easier in this speedrun than it is in a casual play. This is basically a warped speedrun in a way, because normally speedruns make things harder, but more skill-based than a casual playthrough. But in this game, it's the opposite. Crrool not watching his other runner. Oh, such bad race etiquette. You usually watch your other runners so you know how to pace yourself. Kappa. No, it's okay. Some people can't because of internet things, and others don't want to because they have a hard time concentrating. I have ADHD, so commentating on two screens is not only easier, but I can play video game. I could be watching like 2 other streams right now and still commentate this race probably. It's just the way I am. Oh. Yeah, two turn lich would be pretty bad. I would you probably just defended all of it instead. Crrool is getting trolled again with an encounter. Getting the Sahagin Big Eyes. Even with the Thieves Armlet, it's still a terrible encounter. He is now moving on to... Well, he actually got a Gold Lich split. So after the worst Earth Rod he's had in a long time, in his words, he actually got a Gold Lich. So that's that's Final Fantasy 1 in a nutshell, guys. Get your worst split beside your best split. Gold in the middle of a sea of reds. Usually how it goes. Crrool is now moving on to grab the canoe, which is what we need to get the class change. There was a time where the speedrun used to go straight to Citadel of Trials after getting the canoe. Or no, sorry. Instead of getting the airship, but through timing and some rerouting, they will actually go grab the airship first. But they are going to go grind. The one key fact that I realized I actually haven't mentioned, but here it is. There's actually a reason that they haven't been healing up their warrior or their thief beyond a certain threshold. The reason why is because the boss that they want to grind on can cast Thundara semi-regularly, and that Thundara deals about 70 damage. So they keep their warrior and their thief under 70 HP throughout the run, so that when they get to that boss, they can kill it. Now this does put us at risk of dying to Lich with this strat, but again, we just safety save it, and it's a very small time loss because quickly we can kill Lich. Even then, very rarely, the White Mage can survive at full health a Blizzara, which is what happened to me. Crrool is also going to do optionally, some characters will do 3 black garbs, we'll do 3 sets of black garbs. You can't actually get them on the warrior without going through like a lot of menus, and it's not worth it to get the warrior black garb. Although if you really wanted to, you could, because he's next to the black mage. You could just put him next to a mage and really complicated menuing. But De La Vie, not worth the time. It's fine to still have these armlets that you have enough agility on their own. Now keep in mind that these equipments really aren't supposed to be stacked onto each other. It's like the black garb isn't. You're not supposed to have the stats of 3 black garbs. The game's pretty balanced in the way it gives you equipment. Other than that. So now Crrool is in the most dangerous section of the game, and that is the Ice Cavern. So what's going on in the Ice Cavern is essentially lots of difficult to run away encounters mixed with like a few unrunnables, and then a few encounters that can straight up kill you, and there's nothing you can do about it. So we saved quite a few times in this dungeon. So the ghosts that you see here, these green and blue ghosts, are hard to run away from. They've got a lot of agility. They can paralyze on hit. So they can paralock you if you fail to run away. You see Crrool is going to attempt to run away here, and he does. The next encounter that you can't run away from is Pisto Demons. And there's upwards of 7 of them. Mind Flare ambush. This could be very bad. They can actually do on-hit death. And he just opts to say, screw it. I'm going to Judgment Staff them. I'm going to kill them now before they can kill them. Which he's very lucky that they didn't double pair. So the Mind Blast can paralyze 4 people at a time. And paralyze can be constantly reapplied. And we see on Reboot's side, he actually gets very lucky. That's actually probably the best outcome there. He got Blizzara, both his mages survived, were able to land 2 hits, and then a 3rd hit. Oh my goodness, another Mind Flare encounter. Oh my. Oh, but his Black Mage is fast enough thanks to the Black Garbs. So, Black Garbs saving the day again. But very, very bad luck on Crrool's end with these Mind Flares. Reboot surviving a Blizzara, which is not only very rare, but very cool to see. Now, there's 2 encounters that can straight up kill you instantly. Like, no delay like the Mind Flares. And those are White Dragons and Black Wizards. Both of those Dark Wizards. Both those encounters can come out of nowhere and just kill you with AoE. Because even though we've got very good equipment, our party does not have much magic resistance. And so Faraga from the Dark Wizards and Ice Storm from Dragons can kill the party at this point in the game. Yeah, this is a pretty bad ice cavern. So, Crrool is now moving on to the Evil Eye. Reboot is now head in to grab his canoe. Dallas White Grip? Nope. So now we're going to see Evil Eye, and Crrool, I guess, is getting trolled again by Evil Eye. Daze has actually like 4 different effects it can do. Hello, buffet time. And here we go. Now we can get it going. Hello, Mundo Meat. Uh-oh. What's happening there? Not sure what was going on there. That was very strange. Well, thank you very much. There isn't much to commentate. He's just grinding to level 19, and the reason is because of Healara, as well as Teleport and Haste are the only 3 spells that we need, and the only reason that we even need levels, honestly. Without these, without needing those spells, like, we wouldn't need to grind. But Chaos hits too hard. He is too good at his job of killing us. And so we do this. So you're going to see that he's going to heal up, he's going to save, in case he dies, to the encounter below again. There's that spiked tile that we have to cross multiple times in this dungeon. Hello, Sopatikan. And so it looks like Crrool had a really rough ice cavern, which, I mean, is to be expected from ice cavern. It's generally how it goes. Oh, I forgot, you guys will get petrified here too. It doesn't happen often, but it can happen. Also, you're going to notice that as soon as they take a status ailment, they're going to heal it off, and that's because it's faster to have all the characters healed up and runnable than it is not to. Whoa. So now we see Reboot is now entering the Cavern of Ice. We'll see what encounters he gets. He could just have a really lucky Cavern of Ice, but those don't really exist. Cavern of Ice is just a cruel mistress of this speedrun. It's very dangerous. But yeah, so Crrool is now going to be doing some auxiliary stuff that's technically not required to do the speedrun. There was once a time where they would grind to level 33 for Hilaga and never do a class chain. But that time is long gone. Now do a class chain significantly faster. And it gives us, and go into Citadel of Trials, which is an optional dungeon to get the item for Clash Union. Actually, has 2 equipment that we're going to use to buff up our White Mage. The Healing Rod and the Gauntlet turn into the Lordly Robes and the Golden Staff, which gives enough magic boost to the White Mage to be able to heal our party pretty much full. Just full. And so with these like route changes, we reduce the time that we spend grinding in the run to just a bare minimum about a minute and a half. Oh. So now if you've always, casually you might hate this dungeon, like, man, I wish I understood which one to go to, it doesn't make any sense. Well, it's actually pretty easy. It's always the low, almost screwed up there. It's always the lowest, like laterally. So whatever is the most southern teleporter is the correct teleporter. Now, these nightmares, most runners will opt not to run from them. Crrool is opting to try to run. They have an extremely high agility, so most runners will just straight attack it. That's because even though we've got great equipment, our agility still isn't that great. We just have such a powerful weapon, it doesn't matter. Our stats are still fairly low for this section of the game, even with the glitched equipment. Oh, natural zombie dragon zombie. Which, like Crrool said, is a 1 in 64 chance in this dungeon. Also, the Mind Flayers make their return in this dungeon, and they're way more dangerous. Like, because there's way more of them. If they ambush you, it's pretty much GG. Like, it's very rare where it isn't. Crrool is now leaving with the Rat's Tail, which is the item that they need to give to Bahamut to prove their worth. To explain that to me, I actually don't know the plot behind that one. Why a Rat's Tail? I know that the item from the chest in this trial citadel is like you need. It needs to be, you basically think about what you want and the chest has it. I know that's but I don't know why a Rat's Tail is what gives them more power. Why Bahamut wants a Rat's Tail. It says something to do with courage, it still doesn't make sense to me. And I'm a lore guy. A reboot in a very, very rare encounter during the grind. It's very rare to get an encounter while moving back and forth here, but he did get it. And it can be pretty dangerous because you have two intentionally dead party members, so. And the best part about casting this, by the way, right now is, well, on top of the fact that I just love casting, is the fact that when this is done, the express buses will be running to go to my parents' place, so it's gonna save me, gonna fit perfectly. Yeah, there is some doubt. Like that's why I said I know that the item in the Citadel changes based on like what you want. Basically, the person who finds it will always find the item that they need. But I don't know why a Rat's Tail is the item that Bahamut wants. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. I think it has something to do with like courage to do those trials just for a Rat's Tail or something. Proves that you're a real hero for not wanting anything of worth. Or something like that. Like, not wanting anything of worth is like admirable. But like, is putting yourself through like mortal danger admirable? Also, Crrool not making the mistake I made and going to get the gonna go get haste. I actually won my race with a 137. But I forgot to pick up haste at any point. It totally blanked. I didn't notice until Tiamat 2. So don't make that mistake. Crrool opted into Ether here. Also to heal up his party to full. Jith and I fought Chaos with like extremely low health party members. Also, I guess I should mention health is probably the most important stat. It's the only one that we can't affect how it levels up. Like we just kind of every time it's a new game because we don't know where our HPs are gonna end up. Crrool's Black Mage though is actually at 199 already, which is pretty high. We basically want our Mage and our Thief to have over 250 health. That puts them at a really, really healthy point. And means that we might not need to Giant Stomp them after the levels that we gain in the Chaos Shrine. Because there's so many unrunnables or just difficult to run from encounters in Chaos Shrine, we gain a lot of experience there. Now you're also going to notice that Crrool seems to be intentionally walking on the lava tiles. And that's correct, he is. The lava tiles in the dungeon prevent encounters from happening. Whenever you step on a spike tile, an actual tile of spikes, any damage tiles in the game cannot have encounters on them. So that basically means that this dungeon has very, very few encounters because of that. And Merilith goes down in what looks to be 3 hits, which is pretty good. So now, onto the final bit of the game, which is the final 2 chaoses, as well as final dungeon. We need to get a lot of peripheral items here, or do a lot of little side questing to get access to the Sunken Shrine, and then the Sunken Shrine, which is probably the longest dungeon in the game, because it has 2 halves to it, basically. If you've never played this game before, the game, if you need to talk to NPCs. So the game doesn't really tell you where to go. It expects you to talk to NPCs to figure out where to go. Which is an interesting way to go about it, honestly. Like, if you really think about it, that's a cool concept. The game basically not telling you where to go. It gives you the tools that you need to continue, and then you need to figure out where to go. You have to like talk to somebody in Onrat to find out that there's a caravan in the desert, which they're on the same continent. And they'll tell you that you need that, like that they're selling some interesting wares. You buy the fairy bottle. Somebody else in this town will tell you that that there used to be fairies living here in legend, and it's super complicated. It's super fashion. Like, honestly, a really good experience that's hard to replicate is a first playthrough of Final Fantasy 1. Same with Dragon Quest 1. Dragon Quest 1 goes through the same thing where it doesn't tell you where to go, and you have to just kind of figure it out by talking to people. And even then, in Dragon Quest 1, that doesn't help either. We also more or less do the dungeons in intended order in this speedrun. There used to be a route, I think, that did Gulad last. Yeah, while Crrool is doing a little bit, well, he's actually done his questing. He's actually going to be moving on to Onrak and then doing the Sunken Shrine. Before he gets there, though, oh, he gets the Ice Cadus, which is an unrunnable encounter that really only appears here, and as well as a few other places. But here is where you'll usually encounter it if you do. So I'll try to explain it. Before I explain anything about Sunken Shrine, I just want to remind you guys you can follow both of these racers at their respective channels listed there. I'm also a speedrunner of this game and other Final Fantasies, but most importantly, if you're here, make sure to click the follow button on the Speed Gaming channel. I'd like to thank Fiesel specifically for letting me stream on this channel, and if you enjoy speedrunning, this is a great channel to watch different kinds of speed races, tournaments, etc. Marathons are hosted here as well. Continuing on though, we are into one of the longer dungeons in the game, possibly the longest, which is Sunken Shrine. It's got the most common unrunnable encounters in the game. Opting to attack the Water Naga, because it's by itself, I guess, and he's already menued onto it. So he actually hasn't done an unrunnable yet. Sea Snake is not unrunnable, he just opted to kill it. Ghosts are unrunnable and actually kind of dangerous. They can crit for a lot of damage. Britain ignores your armor, your currently equipped armor, for how it deals damage. So it just completely nullifies the armor you have and deals full damage to your stats. And our stats are terrible. So you're gonna see here that like Judgment Staff is gonna deal a lot of damage, and this is where Judgment Staff gets most of its use, just because of how common it is. Reboot is going the wrong way. He's not going for his class change. I'm not sure what's going on with Reboot's side, but he hasn't class changed. Oh no, wait, no, never mind. He has his rat's tail probably. He did go through it, so. So now Crrool is gonna use teleport for its biggest use, which is to go back 2 floors in this dungeon, allowing us to not have to walk back through here. It saves quite a bit of time on encounters, and it's probably the biggest time save from teleport. Teleport does two minor time saves in Gaia and in Fenia, where instead of walking out of the city, we just teleport out. And now Crrool is on the other half of this dungeon. The most annoying encounter here is actually the Sahagin gain. Basically, you get a combination of 7 or 8 Sahagin. Oh, here it is. Sahagin chiefs and 1 or 2 princes. It's always 9 Sahagins, and they are completely awful to deal with. So we try to kill them as quickly as possible. Deep Eyes White Shark is not as dangerous as Big Eyes Sahagin was in the early game, luckily. So we're seeing Crrool move his way through Sunken Shrine. There's a very interesting section there where you go through like a bunch of small rooms on the other floors, and then you pop back up onto floor 2. He's gonna grab the light axe here, which sorry, I haven't eaten today, so I'm feeling a little hungry all of a sudden. So he's gonna grab the light axe here, which is he's gonna use to put on new pieces of armor, which is going to be the survival vest, which is from Crrool, which is the final boss of the game, or the final super boss of the game. So you're going to see that he's going to basically equipment glitch as much onto as possible. He's also going to do a slightly different menu where he's going to equip Lordly Robes onto his White Mage. And he's opting to give the survival vest as well. So now Reboot is on to Mount Gulag, while Crrool is on the final floor of London Shrine. And there's not, again, the bosses are trivialized by our equipment, so that's why I don't really comment the boss fights. It's whole day and win until Chaos, where I will commentate that pretty in-depthly. Yeah, Crrool is currently more than an entire dungeon ahead. Oh. So now Crrool is moving on. Yeah, Crrool is actually on amazing pace right now. He has headed into Waterfall Cave, which is the highest counter rate. But it's not very dangerous section either, so Crrool is in fact going to make his way through here fairly briskly. It is still a difficult dungeon to get through because you could get stuck in encounters for a really long time. The dungeon layout is very bland and very easy to make a wrong turn in if you're not thinking. The robot was nice enough to just stand. Oh no, an ambush! And he doesn't save! So the Pyralists deal instant death, and the Cockatrices deal stone, but luckily enough, he's fine. So that could have turned out way worse. And right there, Ribbon as well. Those misses were clutch because all those hits and all those misses could have been petrifies and deaths. So it's fairly easy to run away from them. But they're not very good characters. They're not fast, but Crrool definitely got lucky there. Please don't spam. Whew. So now Crrool is definitely having bad things happen to Crrool is his best option for catching up at this point. First off, Crrool's a very good runner, so it's very difficult to catch up to him when he's on a good pace. Yes, the robot does turn off in the next version as well. Like when you're this far behind, so like FF1, if you're within like half a dungeon or even a full dungeon, you can catch up. But being behind entire like full dungeons is generally not. High risk moment for Crrool is it's really just chaos. And chaos isn't exactly high risk as he is completely trolly. Yeah, also Crrool is a very, very safe. He's a very good race player of this game. The highest risk moments are Lich, Lich 2, and Chaos. So like this run is actually a lot of skill. Like generally RNG won't completely screw over a race. It really is about like how you react to what the game gives you. Both runners will probably run into about the same amount of luck. I would say that every single run of this game can be a low 130 of the speed run. So like once you're good, every run has the chance to be a low 130. I don't know if every run has a chance of being sub 130. That's when a runner gets a sub 130 time, that's a pretty lucky run. Also, this section of the game has these stupid Minotaur zombies. And as I found out the other day, you can sometimes low roll the damage on them, which is pretty. I didn't even know that. But they appear often. This is probably the highest. They're probably like one of the higher encounter rate things. What ambush encounters can instantly ruin you? Pyrus, Cockatrice, White Dragon, Dark Wizards, War Mech. And that's about it. Zombie Dragons, Green Dragons. Zombie Dragon, Green Dragon, and White Dragon in Chaos Shrine. White Dragon actually has the least of those, but Green and Zombie can actually kill you pretty good. Mind Flares as well. The other Dragons are pretty safe. They don't deal as much damage by the point you fight them because you have Red Ribbon. Or sorry, because you have the Ribbon, and Ribbon gives you fire protection as well as ice protection. So red and blue dragons aren't that scary. So Crrool's going through probably the highest encounter rate section of the game, which is the Mirage Towers floors. It's just like a very, very high encounter rate on all floors. And there's lots of little turns, and every time you bump into a wall, I believe you lose a second. Usually, like if you, because it's very easy to just hold the direction for like a frame too long and bump into a wall. As you can see, he's had like 4 encounters, like within like 10 steps. It's such a bad place for him. Runners could lose like a minute and a half here. World record is 125 something. But world record in this game is not indicative of their times. The average, like, this game is so RNG dependent when you're at a very top level going for world record that it's kind of weird to compare against world record. Yeah, 125.58. That's it. And probably the average time is about 133, I think. That's where you're gonna see a lot of these racers end up. Or you can have train wreck races like me and Chrono Kirby's, where the winner of the race is at a 137. But you know, that can sometimes happen too, where it's just a complete train wreck on both sides. So you're gonna see Crrool is actually making his way through a fairly quick, what's supposed to be a very quick section. So Crrool is saving here because he could encounter Warmack! And no encounters. So on PSP, that section is extremely low encounter rate. All the floors with the chaos, with the elemental chaos itself, have very low encounter rates. But in the NES version, that's actually one of the highest encounter rate floors in the game. So, it's an interesting tidbit. Yeah, that was a very, very good flying fortress. So we are now moving on for Crrool into the final part of the game. That is the Chaos Shrine. There's no more side quests. There's no more quests. Well, unless you are playing this casually and you didn't explore Flying Fortress enough, then you would be completely lost at this point in the game. With very little idea on where to go. Because nobody will tell you there's one hint in the Flying Fortress, and that is the telescope of the world. And it's aimed directly at the Chaos Shrine, and that's supposed to be your hint that the Chaos Shrine is the final dungeon. Without that little telescope, you literally just have to guess. What the heck was that? Okay. So now we are moving on to the final section. So this part is fairly dangerous. There are a lot of dangerous encounters, especially on floor 3. There's dragons of different colors and shapes and sizes. This encounter is interesting in that they have too much HP to kill with a judgment staff from any character except for our white mage. But they're also dangerous enough that they could kill you if you waited. Your white mage could die to the poison gas if you were to wait for the white mage, because he will always go last at this point, because you have the lordly robes instead. So Crrool is gonna play it very safe. This Daryl will be fine because he'll have enough agility to outspeed 2 of them. It's the 4 where 1 of them will definitely get shot off, maybe 2. Reboot is now leaving the water shrine and is going to be going upwards and going to be finishing up side quests so that you can enter the final shrine dungeon. Very quick death eye for Crrool. So the dragons are still dangerous. This encounter, even though it ambushed him, is never dangerous. Hello, Dutch. Reboot going through my least favorite dungeon. Crrool saving on floor 1 in case white dragons decide to troll him. And then white dragons can only appear on Chaos Shrine 1F. Purple worms are not runnable, but you're kind of actually glad when you see them because they give a absolutely crazy amount of experience. Why? So Reboot is now doing his final menu. Oh no. Wait, what is he doing? Oh, he's doing the ribbon menu. Never mind. His second to last menu. You can definitely tell that he's less experienced in Lich is probably the only technically scary boss, but with Crrool's turn HP pools, he'll be fine. Yeah. Rip Robot. He does still move around though, so I don't get it. Is he dead? Is he a zombie robot now? Is he reset to base programming like Wally? Wally! Oh, fire elementals. 1 in 64s. Elementals, the actual run enders, or the actual world record kill. The reboot is teleporting out of there. He's going to be heading to Lafenia next. Crrool is having an actually, holy crap, amazing! An absolutely insane. Okay, Crrool, you better stop talking in chat. Because you just got, like, the best Kraken floor. So with that one floor, Crrool has beat, well, with a very, very good late game, honestly. Everything from, like, Blue Dragon after has been very good. This has been actually also just a really good Chaos Shrine. He's actually, he's bearing on the door of sub 130. He's tapping on that door, asking if he can get that sub 130. We'll see if the game lets him. Probably won't. He would need a really good chaos, like an exceptional chaos. Sub 130 is kind of losing its grasp right now. Sub 131? Sure. If Chaos actually talked in complete sentences instead of like one line at a time, maybe. Sub 135 is like easy. So he is Giant's double tonic, even though he doesn't really need to on the White Mage. He's taking that safety precaution. Doing a full turn of setup instead of half a turn. Reboot is on his way into the final part of the game, which is the Flying Fortress and Chaos. Hello, Matt Storney. And it looks like Chaos is treating him very well. We are going to see a very, very... Yeah, he's just casted Blaze. This is going to be very easy for Crrool to get through. Hey, Master Potato. And it looks like Crrool is going to be finished probably on the next turn. He's at an actually just a beautiful fight. And it looks like... Oh no! One more turn.
Hazelness?
Hey, you spoiled that you didn't die to this obviously well-treated chaos by jumping in slightly too early. No, it's okay. I'm pretty sure everyone knew you were going to win once you get a full health party. I don't think anything... Oh, whoops. I pushed the top. Whoops. Hey, cool.
Okay, now I should be able to hear you.
Yes.
Give me a second. Okay, that should be good now. I hope.
Yeah, no, I can hear you. I forgot to use push the top.
I forgot to turn my speakers on, so
Oh,
that doesn't help.
no. Yes, GG to you, Crrool, for the almost sub 139.
Thank you.
If anything went slightly better, you could have gone that sub 130, I should say. And would have been the other one, because I think only doubles gone in sub 130 in the race, in the tournament so far.
I think so too, yeah. But, you know, it's close enough for now.
Yeah, I mean, and especially when you're in a race, I don't think you probably weren't expecting to even get this good of a time with that start.
No, not with this start, I didn't.
Or that ice tavern, for that matter.
Come again?
The ice tavern as well.
Yeah, that ice cavern was really rough. My walk out of the cavern of earth was really rough. Just like some tough parts at the beginning, but then that chaos shrine at the end there is definitely pulled it back.
Yeah, that was definitely like one of the better end games that I've seen in a while. Everything pretty much after Blue Dragon just went perfectly.
Yeah, I can't say anything other than that. Pretty much. I mean, I golded my my Blue Dragon, or not my Tiamat even, and then like Tiamat and Kraken 2. Getting the encounterless Kraken 2, that was insane. I was walking towards Kraken and I was like, wait, is this going to be encounterless? Am I actually going to get that for the second time? And it happened.
I was like, wow, I'm pretty sure that was encounterless. Especially, I thought for sure they were going to throw the water elemental at you just at the before or after. Just because it gave you the fire elemental.
I was expecting so as well, but then it just didn't, and you know, I could just keep moving. So that was a really nice end right there.
Yeah, agreed.
Like the fire, I think the only thing that was bad about that Chaos Shrine is like the fire elemental and the 2 green dragon encounters, but like nothing major at all.
So we are in officially week 2, right?
This is my official week 2 match. Yes.
Okay. Because at first the title did say week 1. I did change it. Pretty sure we're on week 2 now?
Yeah, well, to be fair, this is my week 2 match, but I have yet to do my week 1 match, which I'll be having later this week, so due to the circumstances, I'm running behind on matches a bit, but that's all good.
And you're the tournament organizer, too, Shane.
Yeah, I know. But, you know, being away the full weekend and the other runner being 9 hours, or having a 9-hour time difference does not help.
No, I guess that definitely wouldn't help. Yeah, it looks like with the way we are in the tournament right now, I mean, we only have half the matches reported. I understand because you were gone for BSG, but you pretty happy with the tournament so far? I mean, I may as well interview as the tournament organizer. It was a pretty straightforward run, a bad early game with an amazing late game. Unless there's anything that you want to point out in your run that made you kind of freaked out? Like, other than, I mean, there's the obvious mind flayers that almost got you twice.
Yeah, the mind flyers in ice definitely scared me for a bit, but overall it was just a solid match. I took a little bit of a risk in ice, and I knew that with those mind flyers. I got unlucky there, but I managed to pull through, no problem.
And there's also you not saving before the cockatrice. I've noticed a lot of runners save just before that cockatrice spike tile for exactly the situation you were in, and you didn't get deathed or petrified.
Yeah, I got very lucky. I was expecting at least 1 or 2 deaths or petrifies, but I did not end up saving there. I don't really know why I didn't, because usually I save at the start of that dungeon regardless, because I know it can hurt. But like, for some reason I just went in and it ended up being okay, so...
Yeah, that ambush, I was like, oh, well, this could be bad, because your last save would have been sometime in Sunken Shrine.
Probably even earlier.
Yeah, that would have probably actually put you behind Reboot, possibly.
It possibly would have, which is usually why I save there. That's actually the very reason I save for those, for the sandworms. Like, I usually only do that when I'm ahead, and I knew that I was ahead, that's why I asked beforehand. But for some reason I just kept going during Waterfall. At the end of the day, it worked out. Generally, you're fast enough there to not have to deal with them a lot, and they don't end up petrifying too badly, but it's definitely a risk when you get ambushed like that, and luckily I got away with it.
Yeah. And it's not the double risk in that it also will death you as well with the Pyrolisk.
Yeah, luckily, like, I mean, in general, the Pyralisks can be painful, but they're still only a 50% they do anything that can hurt you, and then they still need to hit with it as well, so... Yeah, and luckily... I'm generally more concerned with the Cockatrice than I am with the Pyralisks.
Yeah, and... I didn't know that encounter was runnable. Okay. Zombie Dragon, that Vampire Lord, I didn't realize it was runnable.
Yeah, if it's combined with a Vampire Lord, it is.
Interesting.
The more you know, I suppose. Yeah, it's actually really hopeful that encounter is runnable. That's helpful. I didn't full bet a Sierra before.
Yeah. It's, So the Reboot's now on floor 1, on his return, so shouldn't be too much long. Crrool's PB is a 128.07?
128.05. The captain knows that.
Oh, okay.
He's just here to troll, and I know that he is. That's a friend of mine, so
okay.
I figured he would already know I have a 128.
Ouch! And yeah, so I'd say that, like, so far the tournament's been going really well.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed a lot of strong runners throughout the tournament. I mean, I've kind of been trying to keep an eye out for the races while I was at BSG. It was not very successful, I will admit, but it's definitely looking like we've got a lot of strong competitors for this tournament. So
yeah, I mean, we've had so many races that are just like super close.
Yeah, definitely, and I mean, it just goes to show how consistent this game has become, despite its inconsistencies in encounters. On top of which, like, just the fact that there are this many strong competitors, it's gonna be interesting who's gonna take the lead and who's gonna get the tournament in general. So I'm happy that I got out with a strong start at least. It's a little. I mean, I knew my chances of winning were good considering Reboot's PB, but it's still nice to get that strong start at least.
Yeah, especially with average time mattering in the thick of things when it comes to like where you're seated.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like the first few seeds will definitely have, a preferable setup for the second half of the tournament. So getting a steady lead and some good average times early on is definitely only a giant benefit. So I was happy to get started with that sub 131 at least, because that is a very solid time for any runner. So
yeah, the speed gaming, for people who are unsure, speed gaming is a variety speed racing tournament marathon channel. They've hosted everything from like JRTA to, our RTA in Japan I think was hosted on this channel. Find other things. This tournament, over the weekend there was like an Ocarina of Time racing thing that was really cool to see. Very unique format. Shovel Knight is being going on, Super Metroid, tons of things. You can actually read all of them below. It's a good place to learn too. The commentators usually try to explain what runners are doing.
And I mean, with the tournaments like this, like there are so many new runners in general. I mean, if you ever want to pick up a speed run, it's a good place. It's as good a place to start as any.
Yeah, actually, usually the best time to learn a speed game, honestly, is with all these tournaments going on. I think one of the first ones was of this format, like group stage into a tournament like structure, was like from the Final Fantasy community with Final Fantasy IV, and that kind of sparked like a bunch of other communities to follow suit. And the format's really caught on in speedrunning communities because it gives everyone a chance to play with multiple different people, and like the community just kind of comes together to teach the new players so that they can have like a varied tournament.
I mean, at the end of the day, the better prepared everyone is, the more interesting the races are going to be. So it's always a good time to get your game up, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, like I definitely am like practicing more because of the tournament than if the tournament didn't exist. Because I hit what my original goal was, which was a like low 130. So without the tournament, I probably wouldn't strive to get a better time or get more consistent.
I mean, I'll admit I've kind of been running this off and on for the past, year and a half now almost, and never really stopped running this game entirely. So in that sense, I never actually had to derust, so that helped quite a bit actually in just getting ready for the tournament. Just keep doing what you're doing, and at the end of the day, I'll be fine.
Yeah, and we now have moving on to Chaos. He's gone through the dungeon. It's actually been a pretty okay Chaos Shrine. He almost had an encounterless Kraken as well.
That would have been quite insane if we'd seen two encounterless Krakens in the same race, honestly. I mean,
we did see Tyrannosaurus Rex yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, I saw in Discord. I think we've seen every single 1 in 64 at some point in the tournament at this point.
Yeah. It was very strange, though. That bug was fun. Basically, an emulator bug where the black screen, like the default black screen, was a Minotaur zombie encounter. Reboot should be finished up shortly as long as he does the fight correctly. We have actually, one thing that surprised me is seeing people who didn't have this fight down necessarily. Because like this fight's fairly safe if you follow the structure.
It is. It definitely is a very consistent fight for the most, although it does not mean that it's done just yet. You can just get a crit on the white mage and be done. It's some bad experience with that.
I haven't had that happen yet. It's pretty rare because I don't know what the crit chance is, but it's a 12.5% chance for Chaos to attack the White Mage. So it's a really low chance in the first place just to even have Chaos attack specifically the White Mage. And then to crit, it's like, well, guess it wasn't to be. You could, in theory, recover from that depending on the fight and where your HP is, but that did not expect that.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you just make sure that
Also,
everybody has enough health.
Reboot's base health on his Black Mage was over 300.
Oh wow, that is a lot.
I don't know how that's even possible, but he actually didn't need to Giant's Tonic there. Fun fact, he probably would have been fine without Giant's Tonic in his Black. Either of his characters, they both had extremely good HP gain. A base health of 293 from a Ninja and 316 from the Black Mage. Yes, Aiden E, you did, but you didn't watch the VODs, and I believe it's going up on YouTube somewhere. You can watch these VODs, I believe that they all get uploaded. But yeah, it looks like Reboot got a very good fight. Looks like you both actually got on the physical attack cycle. So yeah, that was actually a really clean Chaos fight from Reboot, and you also had a clean one as well. So, luckily this race, no Trolley Chaos. I wish that one day Chaos will not cast 8 Steel Magits on me in one game. That may happen one year for me. That is GG. Both races are now done. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Crrool?
Just want to thank everybody for dropping in. Thank you, Zelnas, for restreaming and for doing the commentary today. And let's just get some hype for all of these races because there are plenty more really good ones to come.
Yeah, it's there's gonna be plenty of races. There's 2 more weeks of group stages, so you just stay tuned, follow the channel, and make sure to turn that notification button on, and then you can see when it goes live, and you can see whenever Final Fantasy goes live.
Make sure to follow all of the runners in the tournament, for that matter as well, because there are plenty of really good runners in here that are definitely worth to check out.
And tons of the runners in this tournament are not just Final Fantasy 1 runners, tons of them do other RPGs as well. I don't think there's anybody who does primarily not RPGs that is in the tournament. Like, for example, like, in this, like, alone, Crrool does the Lufia games, I do other Final Fantasies, Nikki does every Final Fantasy imaginable, then we've got people like...
We've got a few people that were from outside of the RPG community, but most of these are definitely RPG runners.
Yeah, like there's Ajnib, who, if you follow Final Fantasy VII, you'd know that name. There's Creative Ellie, same thing, but for Dragon Quest. Like tons of different runners, and they're all great runners. Elbod, who's known for his silly marathon runs over the weekends. But yeah, definitely follow all the runners, especially if you're an RPG fan. And even if a racer loses one match, there is still a chance that they can win their next 2 matches and still be in the finals, I believe.
Yeah, it's definitely still possible. It's not done with a single race, so definitely plenty of reason to keep an eye on them, because anything can still happen at this point in the tournament.
Now, the way that the tournament is structured, I don't think any 2-1s can get it, or 1-2s can get in. I think.
No, they cannot.
Yeah, so basically, as long as you win 2 matches, you get to go into the double elimination bracket. So
Unless we get a triple 2-1, which is also an option. In that case, it's going to come down to average times.
Yeah, and that's why every single race doesn't matter. Even the one that you lose is going to matter when it comes to eliminations. Every race is important for every runner in this tournament, which makes it exciting. That's why group stages are good. But yeah, so I think that's good to touch stream here, but it can make way for other channels.
We should probably just at least raid someone, right?
Oh
Or at
yeah,
least
of course.
host.
Yeah.
I mean, we have one other person currently in the tournament running FF1 PSP as we speak. So
where? Which one?
Creative Eli.
Is he running FF1 or is he running DQ?
Currently running FF1, so
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that'll work.
like a solid target for a host.
I saw him go live with Dragon Quest, so I didn't realize he switched. Oh, his run must have died. So yeah, I guess go say hi to Creative Ellie.